And blockchain and crypto actually is just an extension of technology. Like people ask, like, yeah, it's fairly new in terms of the way that the user understands it right now. But in terms from a technological perspective, it's technology, you know? So, you know, usually when we're deep into technology, we make that pivot over to the next tech, you know, all the time. And that's naturally where I gravitated to. Back in 2014, I had a startup called Safe to Meet, which was like the world's first peer-to-peer verification platform, verifying that someone is safe in less than 5 minutes. And during my journey on Safe to Meet is when I realized that Black women do not get funded because we tried to for funding to get to the next level, which is scaling. So we didn't get funded. And that's when I began to look at blockchain more seriously because I was introduced to it way back in the beginning. I didn't take it seriously, honestly, because I didn't know it was money, you know, that there was money involved in the way that it is. Had I known that, I would have, of course, taken it way more seriously, like most people. But it was when Safe to Meet, when I'm here, let me put this on Do Not Disturb. I'm sorry, because if not, I'll have people, you know, calling and all kind of craziness. But you know, having my own startup, you start to look into millions and billions, you know what I mean? And you start to think like, wow, this is what I really need to be successful. So you start looking at more capital and looking into blockchain. I was like, this is the way that we can actually create capital. And that's another idea that kind of really like tweaked my interest because, you know, years ago, I looked into alternative finance, creating alternative money, community currencies and stuff like that. And years ago, the only way it was thought you can do such a thing is that it had to be pegged to a resource like silver or gold or something like that, which we didn't have neither, you know? So it's like, oh, that's not going to work. But then looking at crypto where it is right now and realizing that it didn't have to tie me to any of these resources that imprison us all over the world, then I was like, then we could truly be autonomous and magical like we really are. I'm like, oh yeah, absolutely. You know, so I was like, I gotta get in this, like I gotta do this, you know. And the person who introduced me to Bitcoin was like, he was telling me that way back in the beginning. He was like, you gotta do this. This is what you gotta do, you know. But I didn't get it at first. So I ultimately got it, you know, and here I am today.
And here you are. So that's been a bit of a theme. Like, yeah, I ain't getting it first. And so now here we are getting it. We're catching on. So
right.
I'm glad that you're here now. And that, you know, so it takes all those nudges. They say it takes a certain number of touches for us to really feel something. So this is no different. I want to start, we have a variety of range of people in the room. When I started this, I did a little informal survey, just like where you at, kind of check in, check the temperature. And we got a lot of ones like, I don't know anything. We got a few threes and even some higher, but mostly we were down in the one and twos as far as what people know about crypto. So you remember that, I don't remember what Denzel Washington movie it was, but one of them when he was like, explain it to me like I'm a 2-year-old. So here we are in a room full of 2-year-old grown women and grown folks. And
I totally get it. Like, you know, I think what it is I was going to say, enough of y'all are not gaming. Y'all need to be gaming and having fun because then we wouldn't even be having this conversation. You would really know what it's about. You know what I mean? And I know that people look at like gaming, what does that have to do with money? But they've been doing this thing with dealing with virtual currencies for decades now. This is really not a new thing. It's just new to us. You know, there is a platform that my brother was, oh my God, he was just totally addicted. He's been playing this platform for over almost 20 years. It's called Second Life, right? And Second Life has its own currency. It has the Linden dollar. And for a while, that Linden dollar became very valuable offline. you know? So imagine getting involved in a game where you're acquiring virtual properties, virtual items and stuff like that. And then you begin to sell these virtual items for the currency that's in the game. But then that currency starts to gain value outside of the game, you know? So that's how you can see how digital currencies can be a thing and how they came about. So what cryptocurrency is, and there are different types of crypto, and we'll get into that, but the main crypto that I think we're kind of referring to right now is the crypto that's like Bitcoin, you know? So Bitcoin is a decentralized cryptocurrency, and so is Guapcoin, the crypto that I founded. And what it means to be decentralized means that there's no intermediary between this money. Like there's no one to print it. There's no one that can stop a transaction. There's no one that can just go in and create a transaction that's, you know, fake or whatever the case may be. There's a series of rules that take place that are written into the code. And the code is the officiator of this currency, right? But what makes it so great, you know, having code that operates in this way is that it's transparent. Meaning, like, imagine if you get together with a group of people and you create a set of rules and you say, this is the rules of how we're going to engage, and you all agree on these rules, right? You put those rules out there. And why would people adopt those rules? Well, they'll adopt the rules because, number one, they can see them, right? They're visible, you know, and that's important. Like there's no hidden fees or no, you know, small writing that you can't see. It's all visible. You can see it. So you're like, okay, I will engage in this because I can see the rules, and I can trust them because I can see them. And then imagine if those rules are written in stone, like literally written on something that cannot be destroyed, right? So the only thing that you can do is maybe later on add on to the rules, but you can't scratch the old rules away. It's there, you know? So the thing with blockchain is that blockchain is largely immutable, right? So that means that whatever exists from day one on blockchain is going to exist day 5,055, you know? So you're not going to get to the point where you're like, how did I get here? You know, how did we get here? Well, if you want to know how we got here, you need to go back to the Genesis block. And that's how you know, right? So with us as humanity, it's hard for us to figure out where we came from because everybody has their different stories and nobody has, quote unquote, the Genesis block written in stone where we all agree. Well, now in the computer age, with blockchain, you have the Genesis block. So if we want to go back to where this thing comes from, we can go right back to the Genesis block in blockchain and see that it was formed on this day. You know what I mean? I forget the Genesis block day on blockchain on Bitcoin. But on Guapcoin, we have a Genesis block of, I believe it's June 16th or something, which was the Ace of Diamonds day because I actually did the Genesis block on my son's birthday. So I framed different things on the blockchain around different birthdays, you know. And I incorporated on a certain day. So, you know, that was the day. But what's more important is what's written onto the blockchain itself, right? Because that is immutable. It's transparent and we can trust it because we know that this is what it is. It was written in stone. So that's a beautiful thing for the future, you know? So for the future, we're able to trace these things. Now with blockchains, we're able to trace transactions, right? We're able to, so I could send a transaction to someone and they can't say, well, I didn't get it. If we can go look at both wallets on the Block Explorer, which is peering into the blockchain, we can see that I sent this to your wallet. You know what I mean? And this is your wallet. This is what you said is your wallet. And this is what I sent to it. I don't have to go to a bank to tell me that. I don't have to, you know, whatever. But so it puts a lot of responsibility in the peer-to-peer transactions between you and I. So that's what crypto is. It's peer-to-peer money. So it's money that's between me and you. A lot of us are familiar with peer-to-peer because we used to get on things like Napster and we used to do peer-to-peer music, you know, and peer-to-peer software. We used to download files from it, you know, from Napster and these other peer-to-peer platforms, right? And those peer-to-peer platforms work a lot like how blockchain and crypto work. So essentially, The heart of the blockchain is nodes, right? Because you ask, well, who's keeping all this information? Everybody, even you. It's being stored on your computer. It's being stored on servers out there. It's being stored on millions of computers all over, right? Those are, each one of these computers are keeping an exact copy of the blockchain, right? And that keeps security, because what if I have a computer and I want to fake something, and I send it on to, I create this fake node and fake transaction. Guess what's going to happen? All of these nodes are going to say, this is not on our ledger. This is not real. Throw it out. And that's something called consensus, because these nodes got to all come together. A certain amount of nodes have to come together to make consensus, to say that this is a valid transaction. And we need to write this onto all of our nodes, all of our chains. So it's like a system of AI, like little robots out here, making all of the, calculations and stuff like that. And you can see it. You can see it at any time. If you want to decide that you want to check it, you can see it. You don't have to call customer service and ask to, whatever. You don't have to, get anybody to intervene. This is all available for you to have. So that's the nuts and bolts of how it works and what it is. Now, why do we have money? I guess you could say out of it in crypto. Well, we have money because it's value, right? It gives value. And data is a form of money. Believe it or not, data is very, very valuable, and that's something that we learned in the last 5 to 10 years of how valuable data is. So if you could take that work and apply it to data, now you can see how we can take that work and apply it to something called crypto, which is just a form of data, right? And how we interact with it is by encrypting and decrypting the keys to get to that data, right?
Right.
But that's how we interact with it. So I don't necessarily have to give my key to view it. But if I want to send my data, which is my crypto, as a payment, then I need my key in order to do it. And that key decrypts my wallet and allows me to send transactions to other people peer-to-peer. So this is the cryptographic technology that's the underlying of blockchain. And actually that cryptographic process was created by women, by the way. 2 women are the ones that founded the actual cryptographic process of encrypting and decrypting keys to use in this way.
There you go. Started by women. I love it. That was, first of all, that was just very, very clear. I know you do this, but so thank you, because that was a different way of even hearing it. I was talking about this in an earlier session, that I really feel a lot of women don't have access to the information because men were the ones that were talking about it. And there's a point where some of us are tired of listening to that sound. And then there's the other point where it's where it doesn't feel like it's not being explained in ways that really make sense. And I think it's very intentional. Like, let me speak over you, let me speak over your head, let me not make it in these real, like, this is tangible. This is really makes sense. Like, I know that if I sell my mailing list, which I won't, y'all good, don't worry about it. But if I was to sell that, that's data that someone would buy. And understanding money, where I was talking about this last time, just really understanding money is something that I don't think we even spend time thinking about. Like, what does money even mean? Who determines what has value, and who says if the dollar is worth 5, I can get 5 cakes for this dollar, and who says I can only get 1 cake for this dollar? Like, who has come up with these ideas? And here, understanding that, like, Genesis block, like, we are determining where the value is, and then we're moving it. And so we are taking ownership and responsibility of money and how we use it, or currency and how we use it. That feels good. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I was talking about this earlier, that, a good chunk of us know the words currency and exchange from the hood, like there's a currency exchange. And so a lot of us have a negative taste in our mouth, a negative feeling in our body, even when we hear those 2 words in a sentence. And I was just, it made me think about just kind of rethinking the language that we use even in our day-to-day speaking, especially introducing these concepts to to new people. Do you have any ideas about those words and like maybe how you've come up or how that's impacted, if you see it as impactful in the work that you do, and how, like, especially currency exchange are largely going away. Like most people, I don't even, and the one in Bankhead is going, like that was the last one. So I don't even know if the next generation even will have that connection. But like my generation, your generation, we're definitely still related to the idea of a currency exchange being kind of predatory. And I wonder if that lends to the sensation about, the fear and scamming and being scammed in crypto.
Well, the thing is, everything that has dealt with money in the recent time has been, quote unquote, initiated by predatory individuals. So we feel the same way about money in general. We're taught that money is bad. We taught that, money is the root of all evil. We taught all of these different things. But one of the things that I teach, and even on a spiritual level, is it's important that we know what money is truly and where it comes from, so that we can have a different relationship with it. So when you look at the word currency, what do you think when you think of current? You think of water, right? Currency. And this is something that flows. So obviously, there's nothing that flows anymore than femininity. But the original forms of money was actually the cowrie shells. Yeah. So if you look at Mandarin, the symbol for money is a shell. Right. So that tells you a lot more there, right? Because, cowrie shells being one of our earlier forms of money, is a connection to the quote unquote divine goddess and goddess traditions and stuff like that. So there was money there. We had money. And then you talk about, where do these shells come from? Well, they come from the deep ocean. They come from the deep sea, And then we go back to, again, the goddess traditions, and we talk about, Mami Wata and all of these other things. So I always get on my little tip, because I want to bring you to the knowledge and the information that money is something that we created. You know what I mean? And if you understand that we created it and it's been here since antiquity, then you can take your power back. And I think that people who have misused it or abused it are the only ones that are privy to it, and the only ones that are privy to the way to creating it, or whatever the case may be, right? So having this story and having this explanation kind of fits me into the picture as a woman, and then, as a woman of color. So now I'm able to put myself back into the situation, because, people are looking at me like, who are you as a creator of currency and money, or new money and crypto? Like, I don't fit in. But I'm just a reminder of the old times when we were creator of money and currency and stuff like that. So I absolutely do fit in. In this equation. So it's good to know. That's why it's good to know. It's good to know the history of money. It's good to build a personal relationship with money, so that you understand what money is and how empowering it can be. And because when you get to be where I am in terms of business, and that's doing business, when it comes to startups and tech startups, and you start talking millions and billions of dollars, then you realize that you need millions and billions of dollars. You're going to come to a wall that you're not going to be able to climb if you're not willing to get the capital that you need to climb it. So, so thus you have to develop a better relationship with money, so that you are comfortable with declaring that it's necessary and that you need it.
Yes, all of that. I think that we've been purposely the capitalism is held up by this idea, and that we have to be kind of ashamed around money, because if we don't talk about it enough, then maybe we won't notice the gap. We won't notice the gap between the haves and the have-nots if we can just
right, and we'll just write it off like there's nothing I can do about it. Whatever. And if I do try to do something, it's going to be evil. It's going to be somehow bear some kind of negative impression on my soul or something.
Yeah, I love that. Really focusing today, and hopefully just moving forward for at least everybody in here, just really reevaluating, what I do when I do my mirror work and my shadow work with folks is just like, whose voice is that? Whose voice is that telling you that money is bad or that money is evil? Are they asking you, are they also passing a collection plate, collecting money while they tell you that? Are they the ones that are controlling the wallets? Are they the ones that were working really hard to make sure that women didn't have access to banking? Like, who are the people that are saying these things? Because we have embodied them and we may not be really realizing where this language is. And especially as a as a spiritualist and in the spiritual community, like this added shame about like, well, you shouldn't be charging for spirituality. And it's like, my presence requires energy, and there's this exchange. How do we get to know money beyond the evil factor? Like, I can't have energy exchange for my energy. This is because that's really what that current is. That current is one of energy. Thank you for all of that. I lost. I opened up with telling people about my experience with losing a lot of a lot for me financially, a lot of Bitcoin. I didn't lose it because somebody broke in my wallet. I lost it because my dumbass lost the key. I didn't know that the key was important. Now, this was, I had bought Bitcoin before Bitcoin was Bitcoin. And so I didn't get any memos, that this was going to be real important. My crystal ball was broken. And so, and so I ended up just like, kind of eating that loss. But I also now live, I don't live in the US full time, and I don't think I ever will again. So I think about myself as a digital nomad, kind of moving through the world, and then also not trying to lose keys to my wallet. I was wondering if you can give 3 tips or a couple tips, however many, on how to keep our cryptocurrency safe. Like, how do we manage to, I bought some crypto, I got some in here, I don't know what I'm doing with it, but how do I at least keep it safe till I figure it out?
Well, the interesting thing is the majority of the things that actually go wrong. I mean, people sometimes lose their keys, but nowadays we have so many different things to help us from, doing that. So you have custodial wallets now that just may require you to log in. Therefore, you don't have to hold your keys. You have backups, wallets that force you to back up your keys in many different ways. So you have a lot of different things that help with that. The biggest threat to crypto and where you are right now is human error. So that is trusting somebody with that, having access to your keys or your crypto. That's one of the biggest things, right? And I think that a lot of things appeal to our own personal, whether it's curiosity or greed, whichever one of them it is. But just understand that usually what is seems too good to be true is likely not true. Don't try to figure it out. You have a lot of people online, and whether it's Twitter and various people, they'll say, hey, send me some of this crypto at this amount and I'll send you back double, things like that. These are the types of schemes that people do like on the regular, because they're out of the 100 people they touch, they're going to get at least 10 or 20 people who are going to believe it. So they're making a lot of money. You know what I mean? So you have that, and you got to understand that crypto forces you to be autonomous and really self-responsible, for your own stuff. So there's not going to be anybody who can get your stuff back. So you're going to have to guard it, guard it and protect it. So you learn how to guard and protect your things that are valuable to you. It's like we're going back in the past, because that's what we used to do back in the past, is that we used to guard the things that are that we hold dear. Now, if you come to the last maybe 2-3 decades, we begin to lose value for everything, and in terms of just kind of like wantonly, just like, hey, it'll come back, so we don't guard our stuff, that our possessions anymore. And therefore we have removed value of those things to us, right?
Right.
So crypto is definitely going to instill a sense of value because of the processes that it's going to take for you to be able to use it, for you to hold it, spend it, whatever. There's a process. So it's going to create more value for you in the long run, and that's the thing. Like, even with the crypto that I hold, I wasn't a backup person. I wasn't a security person or anything, but I became that with this crypto. I became more security conscious, more backup conscious. And therefore, this particular money has probably more value to me than the dollars do. You know what I mean? Which is good, because these things are a store of energy, a store of value. And whatever you value, this is what you're going to invest in, and this is what you're going to store in that, right? And it's going to increase because you're putting that value in it. And that's what makes me excited about, the idea of creating a currency and putting your own value into it and value in it. And it's a journey that I got to see with Guapcoin. I got to see people valuing something that becomes a value. It was like really incredible thing to watch.
And for me, our value system is so varied, right? So we value based on different reasons. But for me, something that I know about, something that I'm invested my time in, also not just that project. If I'm trying to figure it out, this is way more valuable to me. Like, my books are hella valuable to me because I spend so much time in them. So when I moved overseas, I had to figure out how to get my books to come with me. That was my money, because that to me was currency. That was valuable. That's where I work from. And so I think about, like getting people to also not just really be protective, but also have this value in something that you've created. They're trying to understand through you is really a gift to the world, really. Like, that's really, and I say that because you created your own coin, and I kind of, that's some power. Right, our own coin. Yes, our coin. And I say this because I know some people are still like kind of chewing every time, right? Take it bite by bite. People are still kind of chewing the idea of coin. One of the things that I kind of see cryptocurrency as money and coins as dollars or euros or yen. And I don't know if that feels accurate for you, but like, to me, that was like a way for me to kind of conceptualize like this idea of money, and then the different types of money, which buy different things in different places. And you're right, ours, because you said this is the first Black crypto coin, and it's something that we can use and sorry, I got shot. That's why I have notes, because I would forget. But I feel like that's not only a huge undertaking, but it's a real power move. And I'm curious if you can talk a little bit about why you felt this was important and where you see Guapcoin going in the next 5 years. Like, what does it look like for you?
Well, I saw it as important because, number one, the wealth gap is growing, right? And it's not getting any smaller. And the wealth gap is increased by lack of awareness, lack of knowledge, lack of representation, lack of access. All of these different things are things that need to be addressed by people in order to close the wealth gap, right? So who's going to do that? Who's going to address these things? Not other people, not people outside of the communities and stuff like that. They're not going to address the closing the wealth gap. And maybe they can't. Maybe they can't recognize it for what it is, but I can, I'm looking at it and identifying the wealth gap as, okay, there's not enough representation. So I got to step into the pot and represent, right? And what better way to represent is as a developer, as a creator, if it's within my power to do these things and to create this thing, then this is what I have to do. So I threw myself head first into developing a cryptocurrency and a blockchain, and it really taught me things from the inside out. So like, people could say, well, how can you teach blockchain just the way that you do, like just so natural or whatever? Because I literally ate, slept in, and breathed blockchain for however long, you know what I mean? So I'm not just telling you things that came out of a book. Like, literally, I was in it. So that's how you're able to master it. And that's how you're able to, get it to work for you, is to get in it. So I encourage people to get involved and to put yourself in it so that you can see what it really is about, and not just hear all of these, words and stuff that really don't mean anything online about it.
Right. Which I think is, is what happens, right? Like a lot of us are hearing about coins and crypto, and the words don't really, it's another language. So the words don't mean anything. It's like listening to somebody speak in a language that sounds familiar, like it's a Romance language, but so we know some of the words, but it's not making a lot of sense, right? And so I'm curious, one of the things that kind of led me to this, even pulling this event together, I was in a conversation with some women about that are crypto retired, and they were just talking about how they're using their crypto, how they're using money in day-to-day life. And it really opened the door to me to see it not only as something that is like an investment, which for me, honestly, when people were talking about investing, I'm like, I already got my investments, leave me alone. I'm also doing some other things. I'm trying to build some stuff over here. I'm planning an investment that doesn't look like traditional investing. And then I get here overseas and I'm starting to meet these people that are like, yeah, us too, but we just took our Bitcoin, or we just took our Ethereum, or we just bought this house, or we just took this and we just bought this car. And so that started like, I'm like, wait, y'all spending it right now? Like for some reason, like I just wasn't making that connection, right? Like it was like money that you could get and sit on, and one day you might be rich, but it wasn't a day-to-day thing. And now I'm seeing, we have crypto.com with the card, and there's I always tell people, because I was a big sports fan, that as soon as I realized that crypto.com was buying the rights to the stadium, I realized like we were all really fucking behind. Like we have all messed up, because this is where we're at now. Like this is not the Staples Center. That's
absolutely
right. And so I'm just curious, like, what are some basic applications that we may be like really missing out on? Like how are people using Guapcoin or crypto or Ethereum or Chronos or whatever the thing, all the different coins? How are people actually using that now? And does that make sense to spend it in that way?
Well, nowadays you can use crypto for anything. You can pay for anything with crypto, especially because now they have debit cards that access to crypto, and just on the fly you can spend it. So, these credit card companies like Visa, MasterCard, they're really investing heavily into the crypto infrastructure. So they're moving away from that dollar connection, like your Visa card is really connected to these dollars somewhere, but now it's going to be connected to crypto somewhere. So they're really, really, into that. So you could spend crypto anywhere. And even if you have a crypto that is not maybe liquid, like having a lot of liquidity, it becomes more and more possible for you to be able to maybe change that over to a crypto that is more liquid, that's so that you can spend it. But as I see, because crypto is being pushed into mass adoption on the world scale right now, liquidity is going to be less and less of an issue. And you being able to utilize your crypto is going to grow even more. So you'll walk into a store one day, and that particular store accepts a basket of cryptos, or you go online and your website accepts a basket of cryptos. And why do I say a basket? Well, to me, like the individual cryptos that are there, the basket, they represent the uniqueness of the people. As I see people in diversity, I see people in diversity in crypto. There's no way it's going to be just one crypto, because crypto represents different values, a different value systems. Like with Guapcoin, some people think that I created it to, quote unquote, just to buy Black. I didn't create Guapcoin to buy Black. I created it to spend Black, because I wanted to be able to show how powerful our spending is. As a Black woman, I know how much money we spend. I know, and we are constantly being reminded that we spend into the trillions of dollars or whatever, but where does it go? Well, that's data. Guess what? When you take crypto and you're able to spend it, then you're able to track that data and see where your spending is going. Now you can make more intelligent decisions about where you're going to spend your money, because you actually are able to now see where it's going. So if you're having a problem with a particular corporation or company or store or whatever, you can make a collective decision or a decision with others to say, hey, we're not going to spend our money here. We're going to spend our money over here. And now actually physically move our money in terms of spending, which is almost impossible as a dollar. You know how many times we boycotted different places, say, well, we're not going to buy Gucci, but we buy Gucci because we go to this other store and buy Gucci or a Gucci derivative or whatever the case may be. But now with crypto, we can make way more intelligent decisions in terms of where we're spending. And if we decide that we want to spend somewhere where we feel our money is more impactful, we can make our money more impactful, and we can track it in terms of data. Like, data can now show us how impactful our spending is, how we improved over the last 6 months in terms of where we're funneling our money. And hey, where's our money going at? And you know, in general, we again, we can see the visibility of that. So that's one of the great things that blockchain offers for us.
Yes, I love that. I love, because yes, all of that. I've been an activist my whole life, so I've been boycotting shit since I was like a kid. You know, like I grew up in Chicago and we didn't have Walmart, so people talk about Walmart. I'm like, nah. Well, I was taught to boycott Walmart when I was like 7, and just have been doing so ever since. I'm 45 now. That's a lifetime of no Walmart. That's a lifetime of more expensive shit too, by the way. And I get that, but like that was our reality, right? But yeah, then everybody that I know still goes to Walmart. So I know that dollar didn't move. I know that they still got the black dollar. They just didn't get mine. And I'm Aquarius, so I'm standing on that principle. Like, fuck, I'm still no. But this lets us really see that, and I love that. So time flies when we're today. It's been flying. This has been such juicy information. And I want to make sure, I know there are folks in the audience that have questions, so I want to open up for them to raise their hands that may have stuff to ask around this. But one big question that I have that has popped in my mind in this conversation: how do I collect Guapcoin, or how do I get baskets at my register? Like, there's a lot of business owners in here that are not accepting Bitcoin as payment. In what ways do we change that outside of the Visa debit or the MasterCard debit?
Well, one of the things that my goal during the last 2 years has been since we started, is making Guapcoin more accessible, especially to businesses to accept and stuff like that. So how can we make it easier? And every day it does become easier. More and more point of sales devices are accepting crypto directly. And we'll make sure more and more it does. But if you really want to start, you can start by just having a wallet. Having your wallet, and whoever's going to be paying in crypto, you can scan it, they can pay, from their wallet to wallet, because remember, it's peer to peer. You know what I mean? One of the good things about Guapcoin is it settles instantly. So there's no wait. So if you want to accept it in your store, nobody has to wait for it to confirm for you to get it. Literally, you'll get those funds. But we're working on some things behind the scenes. We are actually working on partnerships with Visa and MasterCard. I'm working on some things. I'm getting ready to launch a platform called Guap, which will allow us to work with merchants and provide them the tools that they need directly, and potentially the training that they need to be able to interact with Guap and crypto in general.
I love that. One of the reasons why I had Bitcoin in the beginning is that I used Bitcoin to buy advertisement on Backpage, and that's what was required back in the early 2000s. And so I had like OG Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I did that because they couldn't accept Visa and MasterCard, because the terms of use on the Visa and MasterCard said you can't sell salacious shit. You can't sell, happy massage. You can't do this. And so I'm excited about this because it gives us an opportunity to collect currency, to earn a living without all of the confines that these companies that have shareholders to answer to place as moral, have decided to place as their moral high road, right? Like, I can buy a gun. I have weapons. I can buy guns with my American Express, and no one bats an eye. But if I go to a massage parlor and get a happy ending, then I'm not, and that information is shared, then that massage parlor can lose their right to process. And a lot of folks have experienced this with PayPal, with Venmo, with Cash App closing out their accounts while they held our money, because they found out
and none of that can happen with crypto. That's the beautiful thing about that.
That is a beautiful thing. Okay. All right. So I'm going to open up. I see that we have a couple questions. So I'll start with Najma. And,
yep.
Okay, I got it right. And then we'll go to Kadira next. Go ahead, Najma.
Okay. So again, thank you for being here. I just really had two questions. So I do have some coin that I already purchased. And I wanted to know how important is it or how essential is it to create a wallet? Because I haven't created the wallet yet. Like I just have it sitting in an account, but I don't.
Yeah, don't leave your crypto sitting in an exchange.
Okay.
Because that's a dangerous way to lose your crypto.
Okay.
You know, exchanges, anything could happen with an exchange. And especially a lot of the exchanges are not 100% regulated, but then you have the ones that are regulated. And one day they may decide that your crypto can be held in that, you know what I mean? You know,
Okay.
just the various different things. Your crypto is only going to be super secure in your own custody. So you want to have your own wallet so that you can have your own custody of your crypto.
Okay, so I'll do that today. And then the other thing
Coinbase, someone asked if Coinbase is a wallet. No, it is not.
Yeah, so that's where mine is at. It's in Coinbase, but I didn't create like the separate wallet.
Consider Coinbase to be the bank. And in crypto terms, that's almost like literally the enemy because that's centralization versus decentralized. So they have to adhere to a certain level of rules and engagements and stuff like that. And you know, you could wake up and the whole thing could change for you with your crypto staying there.
Okay. And also, my last question was, if it's a way to know, I guess, the best time to buy or like certain coins to buy, I kind of just go with like what I feel is probably going to be a good thing, but I'm not 100%
Well, the
sure.
best time to buy is when it's a bear market, you know what I mean? Like now, like literally, you know, when they're talking about it's a crash and things are that's the best time to buy because it's lower. And you want to buy for long term. You don't want to buy so that you're looking at the news one day and they're saying that the value has dropped or whatever. You want to hold on to it as long as possible. You know, because again, one day, very soon, we'll be engaging directly with these crypto. So this could be the difference between buying your, you know, paying your bills and buying your food versus, you know, anything else.
Okay. Okay. I think those are my two questions. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked about wallets. Wallets are like, what kind of wallet is also largely dependent on what you want to do with the wallet, right? Because there are some extended things you can do with crypto. Some cryptos allow you to stake, like Guapcoin. You could stake. You can build a masternode with Guapcoin. Hold on one second. My son just peeked in here. I'm in a. I'm sorry about that. You can do something called staking, which is almost like saving but earning an interest on what you're saving. You can grow your crypto in those ways. You can have masternodes. Some cryptos have masternodes, like Guapcoin has masternode, which allows you to earn Guapcoin passively. If you're going to do those advanced things, then you need to have the desktop wallet that goes with whatever platform or protocol that you're using, right? Then you have what's called multi-currency wallets. And multi-currency wallets, they have all different types of currencies within that wallet. So you have, you could have a multi-currency wallet that has Ethereum, Bitcoin, all of those other things. But what you want to look for is, does it give me the capability of exporting my private key? If it gives me the ability to export my private key, that means I could take my private keys and go anywhere. My funds will not be trapped in that wallet as long as I have my private keys. So you have those types of wallets. You have, like nowadays, it's just, and then you have MetaMask, which is a wallet that interacts with a lot of coins and tokens that are on Ethereum compatible chains. But there is a protocol to dealing with MetaMask because you want to be able to protect your funds. MetaMask, a lot of times people use the browser extension, and the browser extension connects to websites. So what if you connect to a bad website? And you press one button, they can empty out your wallet, you know? So you definitely have to learn a little bit of consciousness when it comes to your wallet, because you are your protector and your guide, and no one can get your funds back. Many people have lost their funds, you know, but a lot of people have lost their funds through exchanges and exchange hacks. So the safest thing is to keep them with you. One of the, some people use hard disk wallets. which are like the little plug-in USB wallets. The difficulty with that, there's some people that have lost their backup keys to those, you know. And there was one guy that's been in the news forever, and he's been trying to crack this one wallet that has like $24 million worth of Bitcoin in it, you know. So, and he's been trying to crack that wallet for, I think, like a number of years now. So you got to have a backup plan. But I think this is great, because one of the things I think this is going to do for us as a community is it's going to force us to do things like that, like create legacies, which we don't. You know, we have slipped off of creating legacies as of recently. You know, back in the days, you know, when you create a legacy, well, you go to one of your family members and say, well, hey, this is going to be, I'm giving this person access to this in case something happens to me, right? We have stopped doing that for a while. But now with crypto, this is something that you're going to have to do. Like you're going to have to maybe talk to your kids and have somebody have a backup of your private key. You know, maybe you'll split your private key amongst a couple of your kids, and they'll have to come together to bring the key together so that they can access something that you may leave behind. This is going to make us do some of those things that are necessary to build generational wealth and to close the wealth gap, I believe.
I love that because it just really brings back this idea of the village, which we have moved so far away from. We have kind of run away from. We don't talk about, you're right, we don't, like, people don't know until their parents are dying what kind of money is around and what they're supposed to do, like how much this is going to cost them. We're so scared to have these conversations. And when you sit down and start talking about crypto with your family, with your friends, I mean, we've had entire gatherings where we're just sitting at the house eating dinner, talking about nothing but crypto, nothing but like just trying to figure out like, what did you learn? because it really is peer-to-peer education also at this point, because it's so much information at once. And so this is just an extension of that. I love that though, like just the idea of sprinkling it out or trying to figure out. And it is, I know that feels scary to a lot of people. You know, I left home young, so I have a lot of trust issues with family. And like, well, who am I supposed to give that number to? I don't even like her like that. She missed my last time she did this, right? And so it makes us have to come to some real resolution with our family.
And innovation. It's going to make us innovate.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's key, is we really need to innovate.
Okay. All right. I know your son, like, all right, we said we'll tell you that 10 more minutes. All right, Kadira, go ahead.
Good morning, good afternoon, all. I'm sitting over here sick over somebody who lost like millions of dollars. Like, I'm like, oh my God. So I started investing a while ago, and I didn't know anything other than I realized that this is going to be worth a lot of money. And I was like, oh, if I invest, I will then have the incentive to sit here and learn German, basically, which was really hard for me to get into. So I just started throwing like a few $100s in it when I had like a few $100s to throw in it every whatever. And I have, I don't know how, a decent amount now. But I literally still don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to manage it. Anyway, that's a side thing that I need to figure out.
When you don't know what to do with it, the best thing to do is to hold it.
Okay, well, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, so, that's the best thing to do. If you don't know what to do with it, hold it, because you might find yourself in a situation like Ukrainians, right, where they got invaded and they're standing on long lines trying to get money out of an ATM, which they can't use. Then all of a sudden they turn around and now the government is airdropped in what? Crypto. You know what I mean? So, and you're already ahead of the game. So it's best to, if you don't know what to do with it, hold it.
Right. I literally don't know how to spend it even. So I'm like in this position where I'm just like, I have money.
Well, we got a lot to do with the people. And that's one of the things that you've taken on with Guapcoin, is to make sure that we're going to deal with the people. So,
which that brings me to my question. So you were talking about you're investing in you're developing a program. I don't remember exactly what you said you were investing in, but I was curious, or developing. I was curious for people who are interested in investing in these coins, not just like buying coins, but like investing in these processes. GuapPay, there you go. Thank you, Amina. like, how does one invest in those or like be a part of like supporting the creation of these systems, these institutions?
I'm glad you asked. One of the things that I've recently decided to do with Guapcoin is I'm going to a platform called Solve.finance. And what it's going to do is I'm going to issue, that's how I'm going to do my seed capital for Guapcoin. So I'm going to raise my funds for Guapcoin through the issuing of what's called financial NFTs and partial ownership in the company. So I do plan on doing that. So look out for that. You know, all you got to do is follow me on Twitter. Also follow me. When you follow me on Twitter, we'll be releasing the Discord and everything. So you join that and you'll be able to get involved in that way. Did I lose you?
No, I was muted.
Oh.
Okay, that's good. Oh, Kadir, you have one more question? As you say that, is that as of recently? Yes, yeah, go ahead. Okay.
Sorry. And that brought me to my next question, which I already had, I came in with, is like, so basically anyone can create these coins have started to understand, like
anyone can create a cryptocurrency, but I'll tell you, not everyone can create a community. That's the big piece. The big piece is the community.
I do have that part, right? But like some coins have gone out of existence and some remain. So like, so my one question is like, how do you, like what, I don't even know how to form the question. It's like, how do you know, or well, you can't know, but like, are there ways in which to make a very informed or educated guess on which things are going to last time? And if you can't in the beginning, right? Like, are there signs that like they're falling out of existence, or like, you know, like, and how
there are always those things. See, this is a problem that I find with a lot of people, and it's not your fault and it's not other people's fault. Like, this is all a new thing, but your best bet is to join a community. This is even before you even set a dime in anything. Join a community, because a lot of times projects fail and ultimately fail because a lack of community support or community growth. But back in the days, what used to happen is when a project would fail, the community members will step in and take it over so it wouldn't fail. You know what I mean? So, you know, so if a project fails, it's the community that fails the project. It's not the project that fails the community. So, you know, and of course, yeah, you got rug pulls and stuff like that, but rug pulls typically don't last more than a year. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like your average rug pull is going to be like a year or less, you know? You want to gauge the energy of the people in the project. Are these like long time kind of people? You know the difference. These people who come with these crypto communities and projects that are talking about mooning coins and stuff like that, making a moon and go to the sky, those are not long-term projects. Those are not projects. Those are the projects that are less likely to sustain some type of long-term growth, because really they're in it for the quick money.
Heard. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for answering all of my questions. I appreciate you. You have a beautiful way of explaining this. And I feel like I have more of a grasp in like, what was this, an hour, half hour, than I've had in like years of trying to like fiddle. Like, I literally have invested thousands of dollars and I'm not sure what, hoping that I figure out. And it was like, you know, now o'clock when I like have some sense of like what I've done. And up to now,
I'm getting ready to put out a series of newbie snippet small videos on crypto. So I'm getting ready to work on that and getting those things out. So you'll just follow me, Crypto Diva, on Instagram. Well, you can give me as Crypto Diva on Instagram as well. But I am Crypto Diva on, but it's spelled DEVA. I'm Crypto Diva on Twitter as well. I'm also on a platform that you probably want to follow me on, and you can follow me for free, even though I do have commercial stuff up there, but it's called Super Peer. And on Super Pair, every Sunday I do just some free, talking about Web3, crypto, all of those different topics, and like demystifying topics and stuff like that. So I'm on there as well. And,
is that one of the communities that you were talking about? Is that one of the communities that you were referencing that people can join?
Oh yeah, that's one of them. But then when I say join a community, like join a project, like if you're interested in Solana, for instance, or if you're interested in Polkadot, they actually have communities, you know what I mean? And you should join in on the community, their Discord and all those other things, so that you can keep your ear to your pulse to the ground, because that's going to be the first place that you find out about anything is within their communities. And the communities are open to anybody to join. Same thing with Guapcoin. Guapcoin, we have a Telegram. If you go to Guapcoin, I also have a forum I just posted there where you can ask questions. I've been trying to get people to use that forum for engagement for a while now. Our folks,
I know how hard that is.
So I would love if you register to guaptalk.org, and even if it's to just start asking questions. And yes, it may take a little bit for people to answer you because it's a new forum, but ultimately those questions will be answered, and that'd be a great way for you and other people in the future to learn more about crypto.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that. I found you on Super Pair, and Super Pair is a good platform where it's peer-to-peer education, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So I love that. I love your videos on there as well. So, okay. I know that we're coming up on time. I told you we'd hard stop at 1 or at 2, sorry. And Shandi has her hand up. I have put all the links for Crypto Diva that I know of, Guap Talk, Guapcoin, all of them on social that I have access to, but you can continue to dig. Also Aquarius Maximus, but you're also a cardiologist and very, very spiritually guided, which also makes me feel really good about the money going to you as well. And I know Shandi's on the phone. She had her hand up. And then I already answered hers. Okay, cool. So I think the only other person was Shandi that had a question, but I see she's on a phone call and it looks pretty engaging. So I will get her question, and we'll get other questions that are popping up and get them answered. I do want to just speak to one thing, because I think, and I'm not saying this is true. I'm just going to say it in front of you so you can add to it, but on your closing thoughts. But one of the things that Victoria put in the chat was, I feel like I just need to hire a consultant, LOL. And I always tell people, like, when I talk to people that got scammed, it's because they thought that way. And one of the things that you talked about was the personal accountability. I like the fact that Kadera said, I don't know what to do with it. And you said, fine, then just sit on it until you have time to figure out what to do. But if you hire somebody to figure out what to do with your money, they're probably going to take it because they know you don't know anything about money. And it's a red flag to hire a consultant to handle, to teach you about your money.
People are always coming to me with those types of questions, and they want me to help them on that level, right? But I'm trying to push the whole decentralization. This is your money. This is your wallet. You need to take some steps to learning it. Essentially, what I love to do is to continue to educate people on a group level, because I love to do that. And I also, in certain cases, offer consulting for creators and developers, people who want to start a project, a startup. That's another thing as well. But I can't possibly at this point answer all of the personal questions that come in my inbox, because I get a lot of them, and then people wind up getting irritated when you fall out of contact, but because I got so many people trying to contact me. But just note that there is a lot available here, and you got to take the plunge, whether it's Guapcoin and you join the Guapcoin community. And when you join the community, you don't join with the idea of having your hand out, waiting for them to just dump all types of information and help on you. It's great to join the community too, and kind of lend yourself. What can you do? You know what I mean? To make this whole thing possible. Maybe you don't know a lot about crypto, but maybe 25 people who don't know a lot about crypto, and you come to Crypto Diva and say, hey, I know a bunch of people that don't know a lot about crypto. I like to get together a a Zoom or whatever the case may be, will you show up? That's what I do.
Yeah. And here you are doing just that. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you. I know your day is busy. I told Rebecca, I said, I realized I got to hit her up before like 8 a.m. My time. And because I know, and I'm the same way. I tell people all the time, I answer messages telepathically. So I want to pour all of my gratitude in the fact that you answered mine. And
Thank you. I appreciate you was patient with me because I could be, a little hard to get to sometimes.
But I know you can't be creating coins and shit and not be hard to get to. So I already know that. So I just want to say, like, for real, a big thank you to you for taking some time to join us in this space, to add to the conversation, to get people to realize, to witness, to have permission to go and play and be flexible and learn and to take accountability. That's the big word that I'm taking away from this, is like personal responsibility for your own finances. And when we talk about manifesting abundance and creating any type of wealth, it requires some personal responsibility. So thank you for landing that, for sticking that landing. I appreciate you, and I'll be in touch with you soon.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Have a wonderful rest of your Women's Day.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye. For the rest of y'all that are in here, we are going to take a break. And we're gonna jump back in and do some hot seat stuff later, but we're gonna do an hour off. So it is 2:00 Eastern Standard Time, 1:00 over here in Central Time Zone. We are going to return back here in 1 hour, and we'll do the hot seat stuff. But I also want to do some just basic walking you through, like, here is crypto. So some of the, like, how do you use it? I see those questions like, wait, what wallet? Where am I supposed to go? So I'm going to walk you through what apps to download onto your phone, onto your tablet, so you can start playing around. Again, this is not about putting any money into them, right? This is just, can I go and see if it's wood? Because they're also, one of the things to think about apps, and I tell people this all the time, is that people would be like, this is the best app ever. But that's the best app for their brain. It ain't got nothing to do with your brain. And you get on that app and it doesn't make sense because your brain is leaning a whole different way. Right? So we're going to play around with some apps. I'm going to share my screens and let you see, and then we're going to pull some folks into the seat, have them answer some questions about apps they're using, what they found easy, and so you can get some real basic practical knowledge about what to do next, okay? And then we're going to roll into some seduction, and then we're going to do some legal shit, because you've got to make sure you pay your taxes or hide them. One of the other. All right, y'all. So go ahead, get your lunch, get your break, get your movement, get your masturbation, get your whatever it is you need. I gotta go eat something. So I'll see you in an hour, okay? Peace.